deep within the whispering hills, where moonlight poured like silver milk over the sleeping forest, a small dragon named Ember stirred from his mossy bed. The world outside hummed softly with crickets and the gentle rustle of leaves. Though the stars blinked drowsily, Ember's golden eyes were wide open. His tail twitched as dreams of flying above the clouds tugged at his sleepy heart. He had promised himself he wouldn't wander at night again. After all, dragons his age were supposed to stay safe and snug until dawn. But something sparkled through the cave mouth. A drifting light, faint and twinkling like a lost star. Curiosity melted his drowsiness. He lifted his head, wings unfolding in a soft, silken stretch, and wondered if tonight might hold a secret worth discovering. The mysterious light drifted beyond the cave, bobbing like a playful lantern between the trees. Ember hesitated, claws clutching the stone, torn between safety and wonder. The forest whispered softly, leaves stirring in the cool night air. Finally, curiosity overcame caution. He stepped outside, the damp earth cooled beneath his talons. The orb hovered as if waiting for him, then drifted deeper into the forest. Ember followed, each step muffled by moss, his heart fluttering with quiet excitement. The world outside felt vast, alive, and filled with promise. Through the woods, Ember followed the light until he reached a silvery stream singing to the stones. Ripples shimmered like liquid starlight. The orb hovered just above the water, spinning lazily before darting upstream. Ember leaned close, his reflection rippling beside the dancing glow. He felt a strange warmth inside, a pull to discover where it led. With a brave breath, he splashed across, droplets sparkling in the moonlight. As Ember ventured deeper, the forest began to hum, a low, comforting rhythm like a lullaby sung by ancient trees. Each footstep echoed softly, blending with the sound of his beating heart. The light ahead flickered, casting moving shadows that looked like friendly spirits. Ember paused beneath a great oak, feeling watched yet comforted. Perhaps the forest wasn't empty after all. A whisper brushed past Ember's ear, gentle as wind through feathers. "Follow the light, little dreamer." He turned in surprise, but saw no one. The orb pulsed brighter, and began drifting toward a hilltop, where the trees thinned, revealing more of the moon. Ember took a deep breath and followed, knowing he was stepping into something magical, and perhaps something that would change his sleepy heart forever. Ember climbed steadily, his claws pressing into soft moss that glowed faintly under the moon. The air shimmered with silver light as he reached the hilltop. Below him spread a hidden valley bathed in mist and moonbeams. Like a dream sculpted by starlight, tiny lights floated over ponds and meadows, and a gentle hum filled the night. Ember's eyes widened. He had never seen anything so beautiful. The drifting orb that had led him here slowed, hovering like a tiny guide, pointing the way forward. It pulsed once, twice, then descended into the valley's soft fog. Ember took a deep breath and followed, his heart glowing as bright as the stars above. The valley opened before him, alive with soft glimmers and quiet sounds. Moonflowers swayed gently, their petals glowing like tiny lanterns. The air smelled of dew and starlight. Ember walked carefully among them, his tail sweeping across the grass. The floating light danced around his wings, teasing him like a playful friend. Everywhere he looked, the world shimmered between dream and reality, and Ember felt smaller, but happier than ever before. At the heart of the valley stood a grand willow, its branches cascading like threads of moonlight. The orb floated to its roots and rested, casting ripples of light that shimmered up the trunk. Ember approached slowly, breath misting in the cool air. A soft voice drifted from the tree itself, warm, ancient, and kind. "You wander far from your cave, young dreamer," it said. Ember bowed his head, both shy and curious. "I only wanted to see where the light would go," he whispered. The willow chuckled softly, leaves rustling like laughter. Then you have found the Valley of Rest, where dreams wait for the brave. The willow's roots curled around a clear pool, so still that the stars above seemed to rest upon its surface. Ember leaned closer and saw more than his reflection. He saw his dreams. There he was, soaring above mountains, laughing with the wind, finding courage in the clouds. The image made him smile, but also ache. "I'm not brave like that," he murmured. The willow's voice echoed gently. "Courage isn't in the roar, little one. It's in the quiet step forward." Ember looked once more into the pool, feeling a spark of warmth inside his chest. The willow lowered a single shimmering leaf that glowed with soft golden fire. "Take this, Ember," it whispered. "When darkness feels too deep, this light will guide you home." Ember accepted it reverently, the leaf pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. The orb that had led him here swirled around once more, then merged into the golden glow. For the first time that night, Ember felt sleepy again. But now, it was a good kind of sleepy, like the kind that comes after adventure and wonder. He nestled beneath the willow, curling up in the soft grass, and the valley hummed a lullaby just for him. When Ember opened his eyes, the soft song of the valley had quieted. Mist drifted low across the ground, and dawn's first light spilled faintly over the hills. The willow's silver glow was fading, and the once floating lights now hovered still, like memories that didn't want to leave. Ember sat up, the golden leaf still glowing gently in his claws. He realized that the valley was changing. The magic seemed to ebb away with the night. He blinked sleepily and felt a tug in his chest, a whisper reminding him that the world beyond the valley awaited. It was time to go home before the sun rose too high. As he prepared to leave, Ember heard a soft chime. The golden leaf pulsed, and a gentle voice whispered within it, "Your courage lit the path, little dreamer. The valley will always remember." The leaf glowed brighter, and for a moment he saw faint shapes of the moonflowers bowing as if in farewell. Ember smiled, both proud and a little sad. "It'll come back," he promised quietly. The leaf shimmered once more and settled into a steady glow, no longer a light to follow, but a light to keep. Ember climbed from the valley as sunlight began to paint the sky in gentle shades of rose and amber. Each step felt heavier, his wings tired from wonder rather than flight. Behind him, the valley shimmered faintly before vanishing into soft morning fog, as if it were folding itself back into dreams. The golden leaf glowed faintly against his chest, warm and reassuring. When he looked back one last time, he could have sworn he saw the willow smile in the light. Reaching the forest edge, Ember paused in a meadow where dew sparkled like tiny crystals. The world was waking, birds sang softly, and the breeze carried the scent of morning blue. Ember rested his wings, watching his breath mingle with the mist. He wondered if the valley had truly existed, or if it had been a dream spun from moonlight. Then, feeling the golden leaf's steady warmth, he knew it was real. He stretched, ready for the journey home, with dawn spreading like a promise across the sky. As the sun rose higher, Ember followed the winding path through the forest. The crickets were silent now, replaced by the soft cooing of doves. Shafts of light pierced through the branches, painting golden dust in the air. Ember's eyes grew heavy again, not from fatigue, but from the peace that follows courage. The cave was near. He could smell its familiar moss and stone. He looked once more at the golden leaf in his claws and smiled. The night had given him more than adventure. It had given him a little piece of light to carry inside forever. Ember reached the familiar clearing where his cave waited, veiled in drifting mist. Morning sunlight shimmered across the dew, and the world was hushed, as though holding its breath after a long dream. He yawned, wings drooping slightly, and stepped inside. The cool air smelled of home, of moss, of stone, and of rest. But something was different. A faint rustle echoed deeper within. Ember blinked, tilting his head curiously. "Hello?" he whispered softly. The sound paused, then answered with the smallest squeak. From behind a rock, a small creature peeked out. A woodland mouse with fur like snow and eyes that sparkled with courage, far greater than its size. It trembled slightly but didn't flee. "I saw your light last night," squeaked the mouse. "It shone all the way to my burrow." Ember smiled kindly, lowering his head to meet the tiny gaze. "You saw that?" he asked. "It was a gift from the Valley of Rest?" The mouse tilted its head, whiskers twitching. "Then it must be a lucky light." Ember and the little mouse sat together near the cave's mouth, sharing a breakfast of berries and dewdrops gathered on wide fern leaves. The dragon's laughter rolled gently through the cavern, like soft thunder turned kind. The mouse nibbled contently, tail flicking as morning birds sang outside. Ember realized how pleasant it was to have company in the quiet hours of dawn. The light from his golden leaf cast a gentle warmth across them both, painting the moment in hues of friendship and peace. As they ate, the mouse asked eagerly about the night's adventure. Ember spoke softly, describing the glowing valley, the silver willow, and the gift of light. His words flowed like a song, and the mouse listened with wide eyes, whiskers trembling in wonder. "You're very brave," the mouse said when he finished. Ember chuckled gently. "Maybe just a little less sleepy than usual," he replied. Together they laughed, their voices mingling with the forest breeze. The day had truly begun. Before the mouse scampered home, Ember gave it a single scale from his wing, small, shimmering, and safe to hold. "If ever you lose your way at night," he said, "this will glow to guide you." The mouse held the scale as though it were a treasure. "And if you're ever lonely," it said, "I'll bring you berries again." They smiled, both knowing that even a small friendship could light up the darkest nights. As the mouse disappeared into the forest, Ember curled up at the cave's edge, finally ready to rest. The golden leaf's soft glow rocking him back toward dreams. The morning sun warmed Ember's cave, wrapping him in quiet comfort. His eyes grew heavy once more. The soft hum of the forest outside was a lullaby that pulled him gently toward dreams. He curled into a ball, tail tucked close, the golden leaf resting over his chest. As his breathing slowed, golden light flickered softly around him, melting into the misty air. Within moments, Ember slipped into slumber, the waking world fading as the world of dreams began to glow to life again. Ember found himself once more in the Valley of Rest, but it looked brighter than before. The willow's leaves shimmered like molten silver, and the floating lights sang in soft harmony. The air itself felt alive with joy. Ember's paws touched the ground lightly, as though he were half air, half dream. "Welcome back, little dreamer," came the voice of the willow, deeper now, like distant thunder wrapped in kindness. "You've shared your light, and so it grows." Ember smiled, realizing the valley had changed because he had changed. The willow's voice whispered, "Look up, Ember," and he did. Above the valley, the sky shimmered like polished glass, reflecting his own face among the stars. As he watched, the reflection began to fly, wings spread wide, strong and sure. Ember's heart lifted. He could feel the wind under his wings, though his body never moved. The dream showed him what he could be, brave, kind, and full of light. The reflection soared upward until it vanished into the endless blue. Ember whispered softly, "One day, I'll fly like that for real." The willow lowered a branch that brushed against the golden leaf on Ember's chest. The leaf glowed brighter than ever, and from its light emerged countless tiny sparks, each one flying away like miniature stars. "Your courage has awakened others," the willow said. "Every act of kindness shines beyond the night." Ember watched as the sparks scattered through the valley, lighting every corner until it glowed like dawn itself. He realized that his little adventure had become something far greater. A dream that others could follow. As the dream began to fade, Ember spread his wings wide. He felt weightless, like the air itself had become a cradle. The valley drifted away beneath him as he glided higher, wind carrying him through a sky painted with sunrise colors. He could hear the willow's fading voice whisper, "Fly home, little one. The morning awaits." Ember smiled, eyes closing as the light folded gently around him. The dream dissolved into warmth, and when he woke again, he knew that someday his wings would truly carry him beyond the cloud. Ember awoke to soft rays of sunlight spilling across the cave floor. But something was strange. Tiny flecks of golden light hovered in the air, gently drifting like feathers. He blinked and stretched, watching them shimmer before fading into sparkles of mist. The golden leaf beside him still glowed faintly, its light steady and alive. Ember touched it gently with his claw. "You're still here," he whispered. The dream had felt so real, yet the morning carried its scent, the quiet hush of magic that lingered just beyond waking. A faint scurrying sound reached Ember's ears, followed by a cheerful squeak. The little white mouse appeared at the cave's entrance, carrying a small pouch of berries tied with a leaf. "Good morning, Ember," it chirped. "You were glowing in your sleep." Ember chuckled softly. "Maybe I was dreaming of the valley again." The mouse nodded knowingly. "Then your dream must have spilled into the real world. Look!" It pointed to a trail of tiny golden footprints leading from the cave mouth into the forest. Ember tilted his head, curiosity lighting his eyes once more. Together, they followed the glowing footprints through the morning forest. Each step shimmered briefly before fading into the soft earth. Birds flitted between branches, their songs weaving with the rustle of leaves. The trail wound past flowers still heavy with dew until it stopped at a small clearing filled with light. At the center stood a patch of glowing grass, and from it rose a single sapling, its leaves glimmering faintly gold, as though a piece of the valley had taken root in their world. Ember's heart swelled with awe. The golden sapling pulsed with a slow, steady rhythm, as if breathing. Ember leaned close, and when his warm breath touched its leaves, they shimmered brighter. "It's alive," the mouse whispered in awe. "It's the valley's gift," Ember nodded slowly. "Maybe the valley wanted to remind us that even dreams can take root." The sapling swayed gently as if it understood. Its light spread over the clearing, bathing them both in gold. And for a heartbeat, Ember thought he could hear the willow's distant voice humming through the breeze. As the day brightened, the sapling's glow softened, folding itself into the morning light. Ember smiled, feeling calm and proud. "The valley's not gone," he said softly. "It's here, in us." The mouse nodded, clutching its berry pouch. "And maybe one day it'll grow tall enough to touch the stars." They laughed quietly together, the sound carrying through the trees. Ember looked up at the sky, clear, endless and bright, and felt the same gentle courage that had guided him through the night. The magic of dreams, he realized, was never truly over. By evening, the forest shimmered once more beneath a soft golden dusk. Ember and the little mouse sat beside the glowing sapling, watching the sunlight fade between the trees. The air felt warm and gentle, carrying the scent of moss and night flowers. Ember stretched his wings lazily, his scales glinting in the last rays of day. "Do you think the stars will come early tonight?" he asked. The mouse tilted its head and smiled. "They always come for those who watch with hope." Ember's eyes softened as twilight brushed across the sky. As night deepened, stars bloomed overhead like flowers of light. Ember gazed upward, feeling the same pull had felt that first night. The quiet wonder of the unknown. The golden leaf glowed softly at his side, and for a heartbeat, one of the stars flickered in perfect rhythm with it. "It's like they're talking," the mouse whispered. Ember nodded slowly. Maybe dreams and stars speak the same language. The forest hushed, listening to the whisper of wind and the distant hum of crickets beginning their nightly song. The golden sapling swayed as if breathing along with the rhythm of the night. Ember placed his claw gently on its trunk, feeling warmth pulse beneath his touch. "Maybe it'll grow tall enough to reach the stars someday," he said softly. "And maybe when it does, the valley will return." The mouse nodded. "And you'll fly above it all, won't you?" Ember smiled, his eyes half closing. "Someday," he whispered, "when I'm ready." The stars reflected in his golden eyes, and for the first time he truly believed he would. The forest sang its nighttime lullaby, gentle winds rustling leaves, soft murmurs of streams nearby. Ember lay down near the sapling, curling his tail around himself. The mouse climbed onto a smooth rock beside him, curling its tail as well. Above them, the stars shimmered, like old friends keeping watch. "Good night, little one," the mouse whispered. "Good night," Ember murmured, eyes growing heavy. "If you see the willow in your dreams, tell it thank you." The mouse smiled sleepily. "I will." And soon both were fast asleep beneath the starlit sky. The night deepened, and the stars slowly faded into the quiet hum of dreams. Within Ember's chest, the golden leaf glowed faintly, its light synchronized with his gentle breathing. The sapling's leaves shimmered in the breeze, casting small halos of gold across the ground. From far away, the valley's distant glow flickered once, like a heartbeat, then stilled. The world rested in peace, and somewhere, in the dream between worlds, the great silver willow whispered, "Well done, little dreamer." Ember smiled in his sleep, the promise of tomorrow shining quietly within him.